Hello and welcome back to Underlab. Well, a lot of you seem to enjoy the episode I did all about Alfies, so how about one about SANS? I realised I made a video long ago called Everything There Is to Know About SANS. Well, this one is everything you didn't already know, myself included. I'll be hunting for whatever obscure facts I can find, as well as explaining his lore and personality. SANS is many people's favourite character from Undertale, but what makes him so popular? His willingness to threaten small children, or his desire to scam unsuspecting customers with rigged telescopes and hot cats rather than hot dogs? Likely none of those things, I'd imagine. Let's find out what makes SANS the skeleton so cool, and try to survive thousands of bone puns while we're at it. SANS is a cool and laid-back sentry from Snowdin. He doesn't take his job too seriously, while his hyperactive brother Papyrus makes up for his lethargy. Papyrus is so committed to capturing a human that he attempts to capture Frisk by himself once the human reaches the end of Snowdin Town. Not only is SANS a relaxed prankster, but he's also an extremely deadly and skilled combatant, and perhaps the single most powerful monster in the entire underground. So how exactly does he live such a radically different double life? To find out the truth about SANS, we have to travel into the past to examine events that happened long before Frisk fell underground. It turns out there was quite a lot going on that we were never a part of, from the deaths of Azrael and his human friend, to Gaster being shattered across time and space. That's where SANS comes in. Popular theories include SANS being the split half of Gaster's personality, to SANS being the apprentice or son of a fatherly WD Gaster. The truth is, nobody knows for certain aside from a particularly annoying dog who was asleep last time I checked. However, it's almost undeniable that SANS has a connection to the mysterious scientist at the heart of most questions within Undertale. I could dedicate the entire video to how SANS may be linked to Gaster, but instead I'll just go over the evidence that ties them together. If you didn't already know, Gaster is the former royal scientist who held the position until he fell into one of his own experiments. After this, Alfies took over, and you should probably watch my video with a similar name to this one about her if you want to know what she did next. SANS has an explicit interest in science due to the fact he owns a quantum physics book, has expressed his liking for science fiction, knows Alfies, and owns a secret workshop with a mysterious broken machine within it. This puts him within the realm of scientific understanding, like the deceased scientist Gaster. Within the workshop I mentioned, the player can find blueprints made of indecipherable symbols. These symbols are speculated to be wingdings, the font which Gaster communicates in, as we find out through entry 17, a message hidden within the game. As you likely know, SANS and Papyrus speak in their own unique fonts. So too does Gaster, which probably means he was a skeleton. The sprite labelled Mystery Man, which you can also find within a hidden room, also resembles a skeleton, and is speculated to possibly be Gaster. Finally, SANS uses a weapon called the Gaster Blaster within the game's files, which seems to confirm that SANS has at some point in time interacted with Gaster. Anyhow, I'm not here to talk about him. Just the point I'm trying to make is that he seems to have some sort of intrinsic connection to SANS, and I'd be amiss to not point it out. It may be slightly hard to believe if there weren't reams of evidence suggesting that the two somehow knew each other, but for now I'll be moving on to talk more about SANS. While most of SANS' background is shrouded in mystery, there are some points to him that haven't changed. SANS appears to love practical jokes, and we get pranks by him constantly throughout the game. The first time we meet him and shake his hand, he hides a whoopee cushion on his palm. He also places one on our seat if we go with him for a meal out at Grillby's. The telescope we use in Waterfall has purple paint around the rim, so we come out with a coloured eye after using it. Within Hotland, he attempts to sell us hot cats rather than hot dogs. Finally, on the genocide route, he impales us on thousands of bones and kills us repeatedly in a desperate final effort to save the world, which has to be the funniest practical joke he plays of them all. So why is SANS so obsessed with pranking people? Well, it might tie into why he's so lazy. SANS is fatalistic, which means he feels he can't change the future. In real life, fatalism is a depressed state which you may be able to escape with enough work. For SANS, however, fatalism is very real, as at some point he realised that you're in control of the timeline. On the genocide route, he's well aware that the end is approaching, and while you're on that path, he's aware that he exists within a doomed timeline. No wonder why he feels trying to stop you is pointless. The pranks, therefore, could be a coping strategy, a way of trying to have a few laughs before the world inevitably ends. His knowledge of the coming doomsday is seemingly also why he tries to befriend you. On the genocide route, he says he believes you might change if you made a few friends, though evidently that wasn't the case. Thankfully, on the true pacifist path, which many players consider to be the canon route of Undertale, he truly does end up as a good friend, and you eventually end up saving him along with everyone else at the end of the game. Not that he needed saving, of course. SANS was probably just pretending he couldn't fight back in order to make you feel like a big hero when you saved the day. After all, SANS has countless unexplainable abilities, from teleportation to telekinesis to trike riding powers that allow him to cycle faster than a car. Don't forget Karmic Retribution, his special attribute that drains away your health for being evil. How can SANS do any of this stuff? The annoying dog told me that SANS is an anime character, so that's all the explanation you need. Now, on a serious note, SANS has powers that simply have no answer. It could be the result of advanced technology given to him by Gaster. Alternatively, it could be extremely powerful magic that no other monster possesses. Maybe it's something to do with determination. After killing SANS, does he bleed? Is he really a human in disguise? Or is it just ketchup? Yeah, in all likelihood, it's just ketchup. Why else would you establish such a bizarre trait such as having an appetite for drinking ketchup? Probably in order to give a comical answer to a mystery that has had fans speculating ever since the game came out. It could be liquid determination, or it could be viscous blood, revealing SANS to be something more than a skeleton, though it really is most likely just processed tomatoes. Some interesting points about SANS include that it isn't certain whether he dies at the end of the genocide path. We see him mention he's going to Grillby's before sliding off the screen, and the game doesn't record whether he was killed. Knowing his ability to teleport, it's quite possible that SANS was never truly defeated, though who knows where he went to next. He's also friends with Toriel, having talked to her through the door that seals her from the outside world. This has led to many fans speculating as to whether they ended up in some sort of relationship after the end of the game, considering that she no longer loves Asgore. One thing worth considering is that if this were true, there'd be no more tiny and adorable goat people in the world, as Azrael won't be coming back anytime soon. So maybe shipping a skeleton with royalty isn't as great an idea as I'm sure it seems at first. In many ways, SANS' personality is completely mysterious. I'd be lying if I said it's obvious that he behaves in certain ways for certain reasons. While he's nice to us, it may only be because he secretly fears our power. At the same time, he may really feel a desire to become our best pal. While he seems nice enough, his chilling attitude within Metaton Resort casts doubt on how much SANS is really willing to get along with a human. We have to remember that he only skips out on killing us the seconds we exit the ruins because of a promise he made to Toriel. When we try his patience on the genocide path, he's more than ready to make us regret ever being such a hateful person. That's also an interesting point to note. When fighting SANS, his eye glows two different colours, namely light blue and yellow, which are the colours of patience and justice. These certainly make sense for SANS. He's been very patient to hold off on attacking you until that point on the genocide route, and it's the epitome of justice to judge you for your actions there and then. That's enough about SANS as a character. There's a fair share of trivia surrounding him, so we'd best get started. There's a lot of interesting facts about his boss theme called Megalovania. The first thing would be the name. Megalovania follows a trend of adding the suffix vania onto words to create portmanteaus. The most notable example of this would be Castlevania, the classic NES franchise along with Metroidvania, a term for any game that plays like a combination of Metroid and Castlevania. Megalovania was named such because it first appeared in Toby Fox's Halloween hack for the game Earthbound as the final boss theme. It's a combination of the words megalomaniac, meaning someone who lusts for power, and the suffix vania, which was used because of the game's spooky Halloween theme, which tied it to games with horror settings like Castlevania. It appeared again in the webcomic Homestuck, which Toby Fox made music for, but this time with a lot more guitar, and I'll play both versions for you now so that you can hear the difference. It's also curious to think of the relevance of the name within the world of Undertale. Obviously it's the same song, so Toby Fox used the same name. However, it's also very fitting for the player, considering that they've strived to obtain power at any cost, like a megalomaniac might. SANS is also a spooky skeleton, so really it seems that Undertale is just yet another Castlevania spin-off. Did you know that SANS is left-handed? He uses his telekinetic powers with his left arm, drinks ketchup with his left hand, and also shakes your hand on the left side. It's also notable that his name may not be solely alluding to the font comic SANS. SANS means without. For example, as like some chips, SANS the ketchup is something SANS would never say. SANS is without a lot of things, without hope and without willpower, and his name could be a double entendre referring to both things. The fact he's a skeleton named after a font is also a reference to the webcomic Helvetica, and the same goes for Papyrus. There's a sprite of SANS within the game's files that's never actually used, depicting his overworld sprite with glowing eyes as if he were about to attack you. Presumably this would have been used in the Judgment Hall, but was cut because you skip straight to fighting him. It's also worth noting that SANS' pupils have a tendency to disappear when he's serious rather than the other way around, so this sprite wouldn't really make much sense unless it was used in place of the generic SANS sprite. So why exactly is SANS so popular? Well, there's undoubtedly a huge variety of reasons. The fact he's so mysterious allows for creative people to speculate about all sorts of details about his past, allowing them to create the character they like the most. The fact he's also extremely powerful is undeniably pretty cool, considering that he only uses his powers for good. He's also one of the friendliest monsters, considering that he tries to befriend and talk to you rather than attacking you on sight, like most others. All in all, his cool, level-headed attitude, contrasted with the eccentric nature of his brother, makes him seem like a particularly amiable guy, and someone you wouldn't mind hopping over to Grillby's with for a bottle of ketchup or two. Undertale wouldn't be Undertale without its grinning, friendly neighbourhood prankster. Just don't make fun of him for talking in the worst font in the world, or he's liable to shatter your soul to the wind before sitting on a lonely bench somewhere by himself as It's Raining Somewhere Else plays. He's a funny guy like that. Hopefully I gained a few karma points for making this video, so SANS won't be judging me through karmic retribution anytime soon. I'm quite enjoying making this series about specific characters, so if you also like this, please be sure to comment which character you'd like me to look at next. Also be sure to tell me if you learnt something new, or if you found the video entertaining. SANS has so many mysteries and so much lore surrounding him that I just had to make an episode dedicated to him. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't stand in the way of a Gaster Blaster, and I'll see you next time. Before I go, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to the scientists here at the Underlab. My head scientists, Nightcore Master, Zaki, Cameron Vigil, Kay Jensen, and Asgore N. Shi. And my Underlab scientists Crystal Sleet, Nicholas Dux, Armin Arler, Marisa Ray, Corey Kidwell, Lieutenant Omega, Manny Yak, and Goncalo Rosario. Thanks to the generosity of every name you see here, this channel is able to keep going. If you enjoyed this video, please check out the Patreon link and the video link below that explains why I so massively appreciate your contribution.